But I do want to talk about other writers' processes so that you understand. This is my process. It's what I've worked out over years that works well for me. The other style of process is really the more instinctive process used by a lot of discovery writers. Like my friend Kaylin, who's recently sold a few books to Tor. She writes a book, and she will stop and do edits mid-book quite frequently. If she thinks, oh, this isn't working out like I want, I'll go and experiment with it this way, or I'll go experiment with this way. She will frequently finish a book. Bye-bye. She will frequently finish a book and then set it aside and take a 2 or 3 year gap. And then she'll come back and start it from page 1 again, after she did all that time to kind of work on it in her head about how she wants to fix it. And she doesn't approach it goal-based like this. She approaches it very instinctively. I write it, I see how it's feeling. If it's not right, I will put it away and I'll stop writing it and I'll write on something else. I don't put things away. She'll put it away, and Ray Bradbury says this. He says he has a drawer of hundreds of unfinished stories that he stopped partway through because it wasn't right yet. And he'll come back to that story every day. He'll pick out a few stories and type at them and work on them and then file them away again and things like this. That works very well for him. It's going to be your own thing, figuring it out. And the problem with this is, I've mentioned before, I realized about a year or two ago that all the best writers I knew were actually better revisers than they were writers. That goes for Dan, that goes for Kaylin, that goes for Eric, that goes for Jancy. All of my friends who are really good writers are all actually better revisers than they are writers. They don't have very clean first drafts. I have fairly clean first drafts, but I'm the only architect among the group, and that's kind of our first drafts. You can go read Warbreaker. You can see what I mean by a fairly clean first draft. Yes, there are problems, but it still reads like a book. For me, it's getting that extra 20% to make it awesome. Whereas for someone like Dan, he writes it and it needs 60%, but he doesn't do all the planning ahead of time. He writes it out. And then he's like, wow, needs huge fundamental changes. That's fun. And then he goes and does these huge fundamental changes. I hate that, but he likes this stage. So, all right, there's my thing on revision. I wish I could give you more. It comes down to knowing your own process and knowing what you like. When things are working for you, what does that mean? When you get done with a day's worth of writing, and you feel just, that was awesome. What about it was awesome? What about it worked? When you read some scenes in your writing, you're like, wow, that's way better than I remember it being. What about it is way better? Like, why? And that's what you're shooting to learn how to do more and more.